Welcome to the Be Zen Wellness Podcast, where we journey through personal stories of transformation and resilience.
This is a space for us to share insights from our experiences and the wisdom of the experts and mentors who have guided us.
I'm your host, Jonah Boersma, certified life and relationship coach.
And I'm your host, Brittany Boersma, registered yoga teacher, breathwork facilitator, and ceremonialist.
If you're enthusiastic about personal development, you're in the right place.
Let's dig in. So I want to begin by all of us taking a collective breath together. So we'll just take a deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth and just sigh it out. I am so grateful and honored to have my dear sister and mentor, Carrie Blackwell, here today. Carrie is such a special gem in my life, and getting to share her voice and her wisdom with you is a high honor today.
Thank you for having me, darling.
It's my pleasure.
This is so wonderful.
Carrie is a functional nutrition lifestyle practitioner, massage therapist, co-founder and personal director of Essential Physical Therapy, and Reiki Master for 25 years. Mm-hmm. Carrie loves being an ever-present member of our global healing community. Providing individualized care is a paramount goal. Carrie is honored to provide an all-inclusive and safe healthcare environment for not only her beloved staff, but for each and every patient, welcoming all. Carrie is joyous, and you'll find her having the most fun during and after her workday. And I can attest to this, Carrie. You are really so much fun and such a joy. And she is a fairy in real life, a joyous fairy, Carrie. And Carrie has actually played an integral role in my personal healing journey. She's supported me through the breast cancer process and healing journey. And the minute I was checked off by my plastic surgeon to receive myofascial release scar work, Carrie started working on me. So you've actually supported me through 2 surgeries. Mm-hmm. You've supported me through my egg retrievals.
Yes.
And most recently been supporting me in conceiving.
Yes.
So she has been such a huge part of my healing journey. And each time we were together and I was receiving from you on your table, we were always talking about food.
Food's a hot topic.
Food is a hot topic. Mm-hmm. And I'm so curious for you to share about what your journey with food has been. And as now a functional nutritionist.
You know, it was a very natural progression of life for me, becoming involved with nutrition in general. And I've been cooking since I could stand at the counter. Before that, actually, on stools. I was very well loved and well trained by my mother. And she's a splendid cook and an incredible person. And I've told my daughter everything I learned about life and being a woman happened in my mother's kitchen.
And bless the mothers.
Oh,
and
no
everything
kidding.
They have taught us.
Absolutely.
And I see you grow your own food.
Yes.
You make some of the most delicious and delectable meals. I've gotten to sit at your table and receive.
I love you at my table.
Oh. And even when I've come to see her as a client, she's made homemade teas, and you've got so much herbal background. And it sounds like it started right after you were born.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what drove you to become a support person in nutrition? Because that's the work that you're following mostly now.
It is. Yeah. You know, I feel like with my career in body work, food has been such a topic in every session almost, because it's so important. What people are putting on the inside of their bodies matters. Mm-hmm. Every bite matters. And it's a natural progression. It really is, you know, being very mindful about how we're being present and how we're showing up for ourselves is super important. And I like to pass that along to the patients and the guests at the clinic and everyone.
Yeah, it feels like your biggest self-care is preparing food and, nourishing your body. You're also a yoga teacher. So you have a yogic background.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear if you have any words of wisdom for somebody who's wanting to eat better and to live better, where would they start?
I think the best place to start is how you think about yourself, honestly. If you think that you deserve to be happy and healthy, then you have to start shifting your paradigm to support that. And all around you, you'll find things to support. The earth, everyone around you, the universe will support that. When you shift your paradigm into knowing your worth and knowing that you're special and unique and you have your own unique gifts to give to the world and how to support that for yourself. Shifting into I matter is the first step.
Yeah. And how would somebody even begin to understand that about themselves?
I think we all have a little feeling of a little bit of wisdom tickles when we're doing something that's meaningful and special, and to just leaning into that feeling and acknowledging the special in that moment, I think is a really nice way to kind of hack into that a little bit.
Well, and there's so many people that are in chronic pain who are experiencing anxiety and depression.
Yes.
Who really don't know how to change. And I hear you saying, believing in yourself and finding that inner confidence and just knowing that you matter.
Yeah.
But if somebody was thinking about some of these alternative forms of care, maybe it's Reiki, maybe it's nutrition, maybe it's massage, where would they start? What do you think would be the best place for them to start?
I think probably if you're looking for an entire systemic support, the best place to start probably would be nutrition-wise and just omitting any highly processed foods. I mean, all the research is showing that that's helping with anxiety, with depression, all of the things.
Yeah, so what's a highly processed food?
Your general Cheetos, like
everything that was in my cabinets growing up.
Right. So many people grew up that way. And it's remarkable how far we've gotten away from what really matters in our food supply. And pulling your dinner from the earth and eating it 20 minutes later that's an incredible feeling. And that's attainable by anyone, honestly.
Well, you have said so many times how important it is to eat well. You've talked so much about blood sugar and gut health.
Yeah.
And for somebody who doesn't have great digestion,
a lot of women don't.
And so much of that comes from the processed foods. And I'm coming back to, you talk about fast food and you make your own form of fast food.
Yes, I do.
Tell me about your fast food.
Oh my gosh. My fast food happened this weekend, actually. We're omnivorous in my home, and we smoked 4 beautiful chickens this weekend. And then my beautiful husband picks them apart, and we freeze them in little portions so that they're grabbable. You can throw them on a salad, you can put them in a taco, that kind of thing. And having on hand roasted nuts and bone broth, just doing big batches and storing it away so that you don't have to do it very often. That's my version of fast food. So it's a little slower. You got to put a little time in, but put on your favorite podcast or your best music and get in the kitchen and dance it out.
Yeah. And it's creating our own food, making our own food. It's one of the most creative processes. I love getting creative with food and preparing food. And I remember you and I had a conversation around privilege and how a lot of people say that eating well is privileged. And yes, it's a privilege to be able to have a kitchen and prepare our food.
Oh, yeah.
But for somebody to say that they don't have time or they're not privileged enough to be able to grow a garden, privileged with time, what would you say to that?
I would say it's less about privilege and more about prioritizing, honestly. If you have a pot with some dirt, you can grow salad.
Yeah.
You can have your tomatoes, you can grow your peppers. If you have a little tiny patch of sun, you can do that. It's about, how are you prioritizing your time? Are you doing more social media stuff, or are you making something beautiful to eat for your family? These are choices that we all get to make every day. And you have to feel really good about the choices that you're making, and limiting yourself with, it's kind of an excuse.
Limiting beliefs.
Yeah, limiting beliefs. And get in there and do the thing.
And get your hands dirty. Pick the meat off the bone.
Yes.
Here in the US, we are so accustomed to boneless, skinless, and like the quick, easy way to prep something. But you just talked about roasting 4 whole chickens, smoking 4 whole chickens.
Yeah.
And you can use the entire carcass.
Oh, definitely.
And then use the bones to make bone broth. That's what I've been loving, is making food from beginning to end, scratch, bone in.
Yes.
And making the bone broth and enjoying the bone broth, making soup from the bone broth.
Using the whole animal. Use everything that's there. It's all usable. It's food.
Oftentimes when it's on the bone, it's less expensive.
Yes, it's true.
Joan and I recently joined a CSA here locally at Deck Family Farms here in Eugene.
Yes.
And they have been so fabulous. They actually collaborate with different farms locally. So when you go to make your order, we made our order yesterday on Sunday, and we're just scrolling through, and you can get jams and preserves. You can get fresh cut flowers. You can order a whole chicken. You can order all of this fresh produce. And so if people don't have the access, or maybe they live in an apartment without a balcony to grow food, the next best choice is to join a CSA.
Oh, absolutely. And the people who are running those kinds of programs, they're collaborating. They're doing beautiful things. It's a fantastic resource. Yeah. You're going to get so many good things.
Yeah, we have been getting so many good things.
Oh, yeah.
Jonah loves his raw milk. And that's the only way here in Oregon that we can get raw milk, is when you join a CSA.
It's true. Yeah.
So he's got his raw milk. I've got all of the good veggies, and I've been making all sorts of things with it.
Oh, that's so good. I love the raw milk yogurt that you can make.
Ooh.
It's we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Maybe we'll include Carrie's raw milk yogurt recipe in the show notes.
It's so good.
Okay, great. So let's get into your personal journey of transformation. It sounds like your mother shared so much about food, but what got you into Reiki?
I had witnessed a death, and the energetic experience of that was fascinating to me. And it happened right in front of me. And so, of course, I'm a very curious person, and I started researching and learning more about the life force and the spirit, and it led me to Reiki. And how to kind of utilize the energy of planet Earth, of us, of Source, to direct it into where areas of healing are needed. Yeah.
Did you have a teacher?
I did, yes. A long, long time ago. Sweet gentleman, I don't think he's teaching anymore, but he's a wonderful guide. And then I've had tons of guides along the way, of course. Yeah.
And they seem to find you, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. How
Right
did your
when you
first...
need them the most. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were one that arrived in my life right when I needed you with healing from my surgery. And
there you go.
have given me so much Reiki in the past. Do you have a story that you want to share about a client that maybe has received your energy work and maybe a personal transformation from them?
Oh, gosh. One that comes to mind is I was working with this gentleman. Oh, bless his sweet heart. And he came in as a recommendation of his therapist. And so he showed up kind of a little chagrin, he was okay with being there, didn't know what he was signing up for. And I was working with him, gave him a little bit of an idea of what to expect. Every session is different though, so you really don't know what to expect. And as I'm working with him, I kept feeling gallbladder, something's going on with the gallbladder. And I kept getting the message the whole time. And when I was done, I said, I don't know what's going on with your gallbladder, but it's something that you might want to go and get looked at. And he got a little angry and told me I was a quack and stormed out and had a massive gallbladder attack that night that sent him to the emergency room. And about a week later, he came to see me at the office and apologized. And he's a great friend now, just a wonderful friend.
He's like, you were onto something, lady.
Man, we've been working together for a long time through a lot of beautiful life changes. He's an awesome person.
Absolutely. And it's you just being so tapped in and using your intuition. And you didn't have to say anything about the gallbladder. You could have just let him walk out. And you spoke up and you said it.
Oh, I always tell everyone what I'm feeling.
When did you first tune into your gifts?
Oh, I kind of showed up this way. It's true. It really is. I've been very intuitive. And, I also grew up in a household where that was really well supported as well. My mother would say, how does that feel to you? Where do you feel that? And she would help me learn as a child how to tune in.
What a beautiful gift.
It was an incredible gift. Yeah, she's the greatest gift ever. Both of my parents, they're incredible people.
To be able to be nourished with the food and nurtured through emotional support. What a gift you can always give your children.
Absolutely.
That's so sweet. So if somebody has this little urge, they're feeling a spark, they're noticing that they have intuitive gifts, maybe they weren't raised in a household that you were, where would they start?
I would start talking with other people that you notice have that too. When you're moving with intuition, it directs you to where you need to be. And it puts people in your life that belong there. And so, I would start talking to like-minded people, and those like-minded people know other like-minded people, and suddenly you're exactly where you belong.
Right. I love that too, because we were talking about nutrition in the beginning, and I've gotten to sit at your table and to witness somebody prepare a meal and to prepare with them provides so much inspiration and makes me want to go home and do the same thing, model that. And the same thing with being around intuitive people. You hear different cues that they're saying. They're tuned into their body. They're speaking about their emotions and what is going on. There's a vulnerable conversation.
Right.
And that's what's been so special about our connection is it started very vulnerably.
It really did.
Very vulnerably. And I have shared some of the most intimate things of my life with you. And now we've developed this wonderful friendship. There's so much that comes out when you open yourself up to others.
Yes.
And share your gifts.
It's really true. And I want to thank you for trusting me with your care and your heart, because that is of the highest honor. Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the scar work, because I have had reconstructive surgery and received implants in my body and went through breast cancer. And my surgeon's actually incredible. So you've gotten to see all sorts of different surgeries and plastic surgeons and work. And you've gotten to support a lot of women who have gone through breast cancer.
Yes.
And so when I stepped into your office, you had already cared for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And the work that you had done on me so vulnerable because you're working, right at the breast, you're working right at the rib cage, you're working directly on the scars. And there's a lot that comes up. I had a lot come up, lots of emotions. Most of our sessions, I had tears streaming down my face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you moved in so delicately and so beautifully. But I would like to hear first, why would somebody want to have scar work after a surgery?
Mm-hmm.
And then second, some of your experiences seeing people healing and recovering by receiving the myofascial work.
Oh, the scar work is so incredible. Why a person would want to receive that kind of work is functional and emotional. You need to be able to have full range of motion of your body. You want to be able to do good twists and things without having a scar pulling and creating tension and stopping your movement. And that is what happens when we have something that's providing tension. It's a stop. And a lot of people don't move through that. And so doing the scar work and really making sure that the scar tissue isn't adhering to the chest wall, that everything is moving properly, that scar tissue, it is laid down by the body in all different directions, and really working it in all of those directions keeps it moving.
And I heard that scars just continue to grow.
Yeah. And a lot of people that they do. And some people, not so much. The growth slows, but in a lot of people, it does just continue to grow. And I have people that I've been seeing for years that continue to come. Yep.
Maybe they're experiencing pain and tension.
Or, interesting things like for some who've had the reconstruction, the implant gets a little adhered to the chest wall. And then you can go kind of underneath it and get it off of there. And then suddenly there's this free range of motion again. It's remarkable. It's remarkable work. Very emotional work.
It's vulnerable.
And it's where your body was just opened recently. And there's a lot there.
Yeah. Well, and as always, it's so important to work with your surgeon. And as soon as you are checked off, you need to ask good questions.
Yes.
So I ask a lot of questions of my doctors, and I ask a lot of alternative questions because I've really been into alternative care.
Right.
So a lot of doctors don't volunteer information like you should go see a physical therapist or you should start getting this massage work done. I had been gifted just like a week after my surgery, I had been gifted a massage. And this woman actually came to the house that we were staying at and worked on me. And so I immediately reached out to my doctor and said, is it too soon to receive a massage? And they said, as long as they're working on your neck and your shoulders and not going anywhere near the surgery site, you're good to get massage. And just getting my hips worked on, having my feet worked on.
Yeah.
It played such a role in my healing because we know that a rested body heals itself. So when you are in rest mode in your parasympathetic nervous system, the body can heal.
Yes.
So the massage, and you also incorporate the Reiki, it plays such an integral role into the nervous system.
Absolutely. And I think when you're treating both, and really the Reiki comes in as the person kind of drops into that parasympathetic wave, and then you can really go in with the energetics. And I feel like those patients heal so much faster. People who are really open to that, it's a much faster recovery and a more complete recovery as well, because we're not just pieces of ourself. We are a whole being, and it really does a beautiful job of healing the emotional body, the physical body, everything. So,
yeah, I was lucky enough to come to Essential Physical Therapy and receive physical therapy from your partner.
Yes.
So I got to receive massage from Carrie, Reiki from Carrie, and then PT from Keith.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so beautiful seeing you two in a partnership and working with clients together and, discussing care. And it feels like it's a very integrated and a very holistic approach. And how's it been working with your partner?
It's the best. It is the best. We both have a completely different way of working with patients, and it blends together in such the most profound way. And I love Keith. He's brilliant and so incredibly sensitive and intuitive with patients. And when we're able to work together, it's so funny because people have to walk by my office to get to his. And if I'm doing notes, I want to clap and holler. You
Cheer
get
him
to
on.
spend an hour with Keith. I'm so happy for you right now. It's just so good. And then of course, if you get the vibe, then I'll go sneak down there toward the end of the session and introduce myself. And it's just wonderful, holistic work.
It's beautiful to see the two of you share so compassionately together. And I feel like I got the whole meal deal getting to work with both of you. And for somebody who's fresh out of surgery, maybe they went through breast cancer, had a double mastectomy, where would they start with their care, their aftercare? Because the surgery is one thing, but there is a long road to recovery after that.
Mm-hmm. I would say that the best place to start, there's two avenues. One is nutrition, making sure that you're on an anti-inflammatory, highly nutrition diet. And the other is receiving some energy work to ramp down your nervous system and really get your body prepared for the healing that's going to take place. It takes a long time to heal completely after a major surgery. For most patients, it's about a year. And to be able to support a person in those ways, those are my two favorite places to begin, is with the
nutrition
and energy work. Yeah. And then from there, all of the good healing juices are stimulated. And a lot of people are able to go down the route of physical therapy a little bit quicker. They're able to receive massage, some scar work a little bit faster. They kind of get the jump on things.
Yeah. Before, during, and after my surgery, I had multiple people working on me. And I had multiple surgeries.
Yeah.
But I had a Reiki Master who I had seen. I had my surgery in California, and I saw her for acupuncture and Reiki leading into the surgery.
Oh, great combo.
Such a great combo.
Oh, I love that.
And then while I was in surgery, I had so many magical people, including yourself, working on me during surgery and sending me good energy. People had candles lit. And then afterward, I had all hands on deck. And so I got to have a very wonderful healing journey that was so supported. And I was grateful to have known about these modalities.
Yes.
And so I had already developed a team, and then new team members came on like yourself. So yeah, how could we get people interested and intrigued to try energy work?
I think having conversations like this,
This is it.
this is it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it right now, and really following your intuition. If any of this sounds interesting and you're curious about it, go get a treatment. Go get a treatment. See what it feels like. See what it brings up for you. What you resist persists. So it'll bring stuff up. And if you're in a place of healing, and you don't have to have just had surgery to experience this.
Yeah, you don't have to be diagnosed with breast cancer.
No.
Right.
But it's a great thing to do if you are. And really, healing is for everyone. Everybody is in a different stage of healing.
I remember my first healer came to me. I had guided a yoga session, and she approached me after the class and complimented a mala that I was wearing. And I said, yeah, it's a grounding mala. And she's like, yeah, because you're not very grounded, are you? And I'm like, how did you know?
You hover, Brittany.
And she's like, because I'm psychic. And I said, I am too. And I need help. I need somebody to help guide me.
Oh, I love that.
And so she just showed up right in front of me, and she was my first mentor. And receiving from her was so special. And the one thing that first starts to happen either when you're working on somebody or receiving Reiki or energy work is your guts start to gurgle a little. And that means your body is relaxing and digestion is happening.
Yes.
And so much started aligning for me when I started receiving that work, and then I've known that I was intuitive for a very long time. I just didn't have the right people around me.
Right.
And so much of it is mentorship. And we were talking about integrity in a previous conversation. And integrity as in a person that is getting so intimate with someone's personal space, like receiving Reiki, receiving massage, getting intimate with somebody's nutrition. That some people are very private about their food. So let's jump into integrity and how somebody can be really delicate and careful in a person's space such as that.
I think that we attract who we need in our life. And for a practitioner, having the utmost respect and presence of mind and spirit and non-judgment, all of these things need to factor in. But there's a personal responsibility for the patient. And that is not everybody that you try may be the very best fit. And when you get that feeling that, oh, this might not be for me, or maybe this person doesn't vibe with me, listen to it. Don't wait and see. Don't continue. Just trust and move on.
And that's a client's first way of learning about intuition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just following those little breadcrumbs of how they're feeling when they leave the room or when they have that initial conversation or even looking at somebody's website. Yeah, I've been so blessed to be just like landed in the right hands over and over. And some of that has really been word of mouth and personal recommendations. And some of that also, if somebody's recommended something to me or someone, maybe that we also didn't align. And that's okay.
Right.
And not taking it personally or...
Oh, it's not a personal thing. You know, that's the beauty of all of the healing work is that there is someone for everyone. And if someone isn't particularly your cup of tea, that's fine. You don't have to say that modality is not for me. That's likely not the case. It's just that you didn't vibe with the person, and that's totally fine.
I'm so glad we vibed.
Me too. Me too. So much.
Yes. So you're in relationship. You are married.
I am married.
And some of mine and Jonah's conversation here on the podcast has been how we have supported one another. And how's it been supporting your partner through different challenges in each of your lives?
Oh, gosh. Keith and I, we really have so much respect for one another, and we like each other so well. There's nothing, I can speak for myself. There's nothing I would change about Keith. He's a spectacular human being. So really knowing and honoring your partner and allowing, I think honoring and knowing leads to allowing, and you just trust them. And of course, as a spouse, you help guide, and we know where each other's blind spots are. We're happy to say, hey, did you think about it this way? And, help each other along our path. But we also understand that the way that we want to have our relationship with our bodies and our health are up to us. We're individual people with individual needs. And so we really trust.
How would you say that Keith has supported you? Like, I'm sure you've gone through some of the depths together. And how has he shown up for you?
How has he shown up for me? All I can think of is in absolutely every way. He is an incredibly steady emotional support. And I have big emotions.
No.
What? And he is just steady and wonderful. And it's funny because his emotional capacity is, he would tell you that it is a different bell curve than mine. And I love asking him to feel into things, and he loves wondering why I feel so much about certain things. And those conversations are supportive and stimulating, and they lead us to the next thing.
Because men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
That's what I hear.
We're complicated beings.
Yeah. We're all complicated beings, you know, and just really abandoning any agenda that you may have on how you think your partnership should be and just living in the what it actually is that's the greatest gift you can ever give to your partner.
You mean the Instagram highlight reels are not real life?
What?
How long have you guys been together?
We've been together for 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And isn't it amazing that you can just continue to learn about each other and love each other and support one another? And
the love grows all the time. And when you just feel like you could hardly feel any more love, you do. It's incredible. Yeah.
it's nice to be able to work together because you get to continue to see each other. Because, you know, if he's working 9 to 5 or 10 to 4, then you don't get to see each other all the time during the day. So getting to see each other in your work, getting to see each other at home.
Yeah.
Such a blessing.
I love it. And so does he. There's not too much of each other in our life. And the work life is really fun too, because I get to run down the hall and give him a kiss when I know he's in between patients, or if I come in later in the day, I get to bring his favorite snack, or, you know, however we can support each other.
Just lifting each other up.
Yeah. Just hearing him laugh down the hall is one of the best things in the whole world.
Yeah. Because you know, when you're laughing, things are good.
Oh, and all the right chemicals are secreting and these beautiful things are happening. And he's with these amazing people who need his support and they're laughing together. That's a form of healing in and of itself, aside from the most unbelievable expertise. So, yeah.
You guys are the best. So if we could set a schedule between Carrie and Keith, and somebody just had surgery and they're needing care. I know that you mentioned starting with some energy work. And once they're checked off for massage and physical therapy, what would that look like?
You know, it would be very individualized depending on what's going on with the patient. But our staff is very well trained on the collaboration aspect of our practice. And we're very much a family business. My cousin has taken over much of my massage therapy practice, and I'm focusing on nutrition and lifestyle and energy work. And of course, Keith is the PT expert. So it's an incredible trifecta of knowledge.
Yeah, I think that there's somebody that would wish that they could have, what should my regimen be and what should my schedule be? And just what you had said, it's so personalized and it varies. It varies based on the injury, the surgery, the area of the body, whether it was cut into or it wasn't cut into.
Right.
So, and it depends on the tissue injury.
Oh, and how healthy was the person to begin with? How were they taking care of themselves before that? Were they prepping for surgery or not?
Yeah, what would a surgery prep look like?
A surgery prep would look like a lot of really healthy food for about a month before a surgery, if you were a person who enjoyed a drive-through and a pizza from time to time, and, limiting sugar and sodas and any of those kinds of highly processed things, and really enjoying the vegetables, fat, fiber, protein, and lots of each of them.
And also before my surgery, I think it was for 2 days or a day and a half pre-surgery, I chose to do soft foods. So I was drinking bone broth. I had a dear friend make me homemade bone broth. That was one of the best gifts I received, was homemade bone broth to prepare for surgery. Because the first thing you want to do after surgery is poop.
Yes.
That's the first thing before they release you. You got to take a poop. So the ways to make the poop a lot easier is eating a good diet.
Yes.
And then a couple days beforehand, switching to soft foods, smoothies, pureed foods, like a pureed cauliflower soup.
Absolutely.
Bone broth.
High hydration.
Lots of hydration. And then after my surgery, I continued on the soft foods until I pooped. And it was like a reward to eat a solid meal afterward.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah, you did great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was a 5-star healing. I don't think I could have any more stars, but
it was definitely a 5-star.
And we touched in a little bit. We're both women, and it's so personalized on a healing journey, whether you're a man or a woman. And our cycles are different. We go through so many different transitions than men throughout our lifetime. And let's touch on that a little bit, on the medical field and how it's lacking.
Oh gosh, the medical field and how it's lacking. I think that so much of the individualized care is overlooked. And everyone is just kind of, you have this number on your blood test, so you get prescribed this pill. And there's a lot of standardized care. And it's unfortunate because I feel like a lot of the primary care practitioners don't get the time to get to know their patients so that they can offer individual care. And it's a broken system in that. And so there are people like me who sort of bridge the gap between the patient and their primary care and all of that space in between. Like, do you think I could benefit from Reiki? How does my nutrition look? Am I in a good position to get this surgery? It's great to have a coach of some sort to help you navigate that. And that is a wonderful service that is really beginning to emerge in our healthcare industry. Unfortunately, it's not very well supported by the insurance companies, but it's still, you have to value your care. You have to value yourself and decide how you're going to utilize your resources. And if you're having a big problem and you want to be well, then maybe reprioritizing that is something to look at.
Yeah, we were touching on this a little bit earlier, but when somebody has a problem, that's when they start taking action. And part of my mission is prevention.
Yeah.
And getting people to take care of themselves, this radical self-care before the diagnosis comes in.
Absolutely.
And I was so lucky to have been such a healthy person when I learned about the diagnosis, that the healing journey was a lot smoother. And having this team of practitioners that I could lean on that wasn't Western medicine. And even though my Western practitioners were amazing, I asked them a lot of questions, going back to that, asking the right questions and going back to what might help me other than what all of these Western practitioners, maybe my psychiatrist, maybe the psychologist, they're not quite landing on what I'm needing.
Right.
So coaches are really able to ask the right questions of you.
Absolutely. And it's very self-revealing. And that is an incredible gift to your future self.
It is. And when you're doing this preventative work and exploring yourself, you're going to save money in the end.
Oh, completely.
When you're buying the quality foods and you're buying organic, or you're choosing to build a little garden on the side of your house, that's all preventative medicine. And it's all things that you have access to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let's just talk about the garden on the side of the house.
Yeah.
You get the sunlight. You get exposure to all of the right microbes, putting your hands in the dirt. All of these beautiful things, the joy, the dopamine hits from watching these little sprouts grow into beautiful plants, and then picking them and eating them and putting all of that love and care and nourishment in your body.
And nothing tastes better than when you've grown it yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that hard-earned work. It's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
When Joan and I first got together, I said, well, we're going to have a garden, 100%, no questions asked. I grew up with a garden, and it's just something that we did. And I didn't learn a lot. I just did it. You know, that's what we did. You learn from mistake, and you just keep trying over and over again, and you continue to get better at it. But the first place that we shared together, we just had this little walkway on the side of the house, and we just put in a couple of raised beds, and we grew our greens for the whole summer. We even were able to share the greens with our friends. And that's the best part about a garden too, and growing your own food, is getting to share it and bring your community together through food. And it's such an ancient practice.
It's the main way people gather together on planet Earth since the beginning of time. You sit down and you enjoy a meal together. That is a pause and a connection.
And taking a moment to actually take a breath, to acknowledge how the food was prepared, acknowledging the animals, acknowledging the vegetables, acknowledging all of the hands involved. That also helps the nervous system when you're sitting down to appreciate your food, looking at the people that you're sitting with in the eyes, taking a moment, saying a prayer, blessing the food.
It's a practice of gratitude, every step of it, from preparation to sitting among your people and enjoying it.
I'm just going back to the beginning of our conversation with little Carrie, little baby Carrie, making food with mom and learning how to prepare food, and seeing the woman that you are today, and how you've taken all of these practices and enriched so many people's lives. You've enriched our lives so much. And now for our last question, think back to when you were going through the greatest hardship of your life. What words of wisdom would you have to share with yourself?
Slow down. Slow down. Take a breath. It's going to be okay, no matter what happens.
Yeah. Because when shit hits the fan,
and it will,
it's easy to just try to solve all the problems at once.
Yes. And I think that's a natural thing to do. I mean, it's a very natural thing to shift into do mode. This is happening. How do I fix it? And you have to allow for the process. And particularly in my case, my spouse was very, very, very ill. And it wasn't about me. There was nothing I could really do except support and love and be with him. And I was just telling him last night that one of the greatest gifts of that time was really teaching me to slow down. Our life came to a full stop for months. And the gift of really learning what it means for realsies to slow down as an over-functioning person my whole life was really a profound experience, and one that I'm completely grateful for and will forever be changed because of.
We're always grateful for the forced slowdowns, even though they are a bitch.
They are a bitch, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the greatest lessons, and I can completely relate to that with my forced slowdowns, and I put an S at the end of it. And I think that that's been my greatest medicine as well, is slowing down and allowing the slowdown to know that it's just trusting the redirect, trusting that life is being redirected and it's okay, and that the pace that we were working at was probably not sustainable.
Well, it clearly wasn't, because it stopped. And the universe has a way of giving us what we need at the appropriate time. So being malleable in your way of thinking and being with yourself and your relationship with yourself is the best gift you can give to you, because it allows you to shift, change. It allows those things that you've always thought of to maybe be different now, and that's okay. And it's remarkable. There's a lot of discovery and a lot of beauty in that, and a lot of crying and heartache and letting go and pain. But it's worth it. And we're human beings. We have this whole spectrum of emotions in life that we are so incredibly privileged to experience. And I'm here for it.
You're so brave.
Takes one to know one.
So we are so brave.
We are so brave.
I feel like the being malleable piece that you mentioned, and just being flexible, you can use that same, all of those words that you just used towards being in relationship.
Oh, yes.
And just thinking about things differently. Jonah highlights things or mentions something, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. Like, thank you for bringing that forward. And we get so laser focused in how we think things are supposed to be, and then life just comes in and teaches us. And so the better students that we become, the more we're able to listen, the more we're able to move and trust these redirections and be flexible. And that's on the yoga mat and off the yoga mat.
Oh, yes. Yeah, on the yoga mat, it always comes to me, be the river. Be the river. Are you the rock today? Are you the river today?
Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you, Brittany. This is an honor.
My sweet sister.
I love you.
I love you. Maybe would you share where our listeners can find you if they would want to work with you nutritionally?
Oh, yes. You can find me at Essential Physical Therapy. The website
.com, right?
I think it is .com. I'm the least tech person you'll ever know. Yes, essentialphysicaltherapy.com. And our beautiful clinic and all of our clinicians and our practice resides there. And yeah, we offer all kinds of wonderful services, and we team up with lots of wonderful other service giving providers in town, and Bizen is one of them. And we just love collaborating and really helping people find their way to their very best life. Yeah.
Snaps for that.
Yeah, baby.
Help people find their way to their very best life, because you deserve it.
Yes.
We deserve it. Any last drops of wisdom before we say goodbye?
Be beautiful to yourself every day.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Brittany.
And go out and have a wonderful day.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us today on the Be Zen Wellness Podcast. We hope this episode leaves you feeling inspired to continue on your personal quest.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. And if you want to learn more or dive deeper into these topics, visit our website and follow us on social media.
Until then, friends, breathe deep, take some time for yourself, and remember, you are already whole. Goodbye, dear hearts.